We'll be reading from the book of Psalms chapter 70 to 72. Yep. The book of Psalms chapter 70 to 72. And moving on to the book of Proverbs. The book of Proverbs chapter 13. And then moving into the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 6. So starting in the book of Psalms chapter 70 to 72, moving to book of Proverbs chapter 13 and into the book of the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 6. So the book of Psalms, bear with me as I try to get through this, y'all willing. The book of Psalms chapter 70, verse 1. O Elohim, deliver me. Hasten to my help, O Yahuwah. Verse 2. Let those who seek my life be ashamed and abashed. Let those who are desiring my evil be turned back and humiliated. Verse 3. Let those who say, Aha, aha, be turned back because of their shame. Verse 4. Let all those who seek you rejoice and be glad in you. And let those who love your deliverance always say, Let Elohim be made great. Let Elohim be made great. Verse 5. But I am poor and needy. Hasten to me, O Elohim. You are my help and my deliverer. O Yahuwah, do not delay. Chapter 71, verse 1. Book of Psalms, chapter 71, verse 1. In you, O Yahuwah, I have taken refuge. Let me never be ashamed. Verse 2. In your righteousness, deliver and rescue me. Incline your ear to me and save me. Verse 3. Be to me a rock to dwell in, to go into continually. You have given the command to save me. For you are my rock and my stronghold. Verse 4. Rescue me, O my Elohim, out of the hand of the wrong, out of the hand of the unrighteous and cruel. Verse 5. For you are my expectation, Master Yahuwah, my trust from my youth. Verse 6. Upon you I have leaned from my birth. You took me out of my mother's womb. My praise is continually of you. Verse 7. I have become as a wonder to many. I have become as a wonder to many. But you are my strong refuge. Verse 8. My mouth is filled with your praise, your splendor all the day. Verse 9. Do not cast me off in the time of old age. Do not cast me off in the time of old age, when my strength fails. Do not forsake me. Verse 10. For my enemies have spoken against me, and those who watch for my life have taken counsel together. Verse 11. Saying, Elohim has forsaken him. Pursue and take him, for there is no one to deliver. Verse 12. O Elohim, do not be far from me. My Elohim, hasten to my help. Verse 13. Let those who are adversaries of my life be ashamed, consumed. Let those who seek my evil be covered with reproach and confusion. Verse 14. But I continually wait and shall praise you more and more. Verse 15. My mouth recounts your righteousness, your deliverance all the day. Do not know their numbers. My mouth recounts your righteousness, your deliverance all the day, though I do not know their numbers. Verse 16. I come in the might of the Master Yahuwah. I make mention of your righteousness, yours alone. Verse 17. Elohim, you have taught me from my youth, and to this day I declare your wonders. Verse 18. And also when I am old and gray, O Elohim, do not forsake me, until I declare your strength to a generation, your might to all those who are to come. Let it be. Amen. And also when I am old and gray, O Elohim, do not forsake me until I declare your strength to a generation, your might to all those who are to come. Verse 19, for your righteousness, O Elohim, is very high. You who have done great deeds, O Elohim, who is like you? Verse 20, you who have shown me great and evil distresses, revive me again and bring me up again from the depths of the earth. Verse 21, you increase my greatness and comfort me on every side. Verse 22, also with the lyre I praise you. For your trustworthiness, O my Elohim, I sing to you with the lyre, O set apart one of Yisrael. Verse 23, my lips shout for joy when I sing to you, even my being, which you have redeemed. Verse 24, my tongue too utters your righteousness all day long. For those who have been seeking my evil have been put to shame, have become abashed. Chapter 72. The book of Psalms, chapter 72, verse 1. O Elohim, give the sovereign your right rulings, and your righteousness to the son of a sovereign. Verse 2. Let him rule your people with righteousness, and your poor with right ruling. Verse 3. Let the mountains bring peace to the people, and the hills by righteousness. Verse 4. Let him rightly rule the poor of the people, save the children of the needy, and crush the oppressor. Verse 5. Let them fear you with the sun, shining and before the moon, in all generations. Verse 6. Let him come down like rain upon the mown lawn. Let him come down like rain upon the mown grass, like showers, watering the earth. Verse 7. Let the righteous flourish in his days with plenty of peace. Till the moon is no more. Till the moon is no more. Verse 8. And let him rule from sea to sea, and from river to the ends of the earth. Verse 9. Let those dwelling in the desert bow before him, and his enemies lick the dust. Verse 10. Let the sovereigns of Tarshish and of the isles bring presents. The sovereigns of Sheba and Seba offer gifts. Verse 11. and let all sovereigns bow down before him, all nations serve him. Verse 12. For he delivers the needy when he cries, and the poor who has no helper. Verse 13. He spares the poor and needy, and he saves the lives of the need. He saves the lives of the needy. Verse 14. He redeems their life from oppression and from violence, and their blood is precious in his eyes. Verse 15. And he shall live, and the gold of Sheba be given to him, and prayer be made for him continually. Let him be blessed all day long. Verse 16. Let there be plenty of grain in the earth, on the top of the mountains. Let its fruit wave like Lebanon, and those of the city flourish like grass of the earth. Verse 17. Let his name be forever, his name continue before the sun, and let them bless themselves in him. Let all nations call him blessed. Verse 18. Blessed be Yahuwah Elohim, Elohim of Yisrael. He alone is doing wonders. He alone is doing wonders. Verse 19. And blessed be his esteemed name forever. And let all the earth be filled with his esteem. Amen and amen. Verse 20. The prayers of Dawid, the son of Yashai, are ended. Those were the prayers of David. And I noticed how he said the gold was his, and he shall live, and the gold of Sheba be given to him. So those were the prayers of Dawid. Those are the prayers of David. We're going to be moving into the book of Proverbs chapter. We're going to be moving into the book of Proverbs chapter 30, chapter 13. Book of Proverbs chapter 13. Book of Proverbs chapter 13, verse 1. A wise son accepts his father's discipline, but a scoffer shall not listen to rebuke. A wise son accepts his father's discipline, but a scoffer, meaning a mocker, one who make fun of others, shall not listen to rebuke, shall not listen to correction. Verse 2. From the fruit of the mouth a man eats the good, but the desire of the treacherous is for violence. The desire of the treacherous is for violence. That's what the treacherous seek, is violence. The treacherous seek violence. Verse 3. He who watches over his mouth guards his being. Watches over his mouth guards his being. When you watch your mouth, you guard your spirit. When you watch your mouth, you watch what you say, you guard your spirit. You protect the spirit within. You protect yourself along with the flesh, but also you protect the spirit. You make sure you're not taking on any unclean spirits. You know? He who watches over his mouth guards his being, but he who opens wide his lips comes to ruin. So he who talks a lot, talks too much about nothing, a whole lot about nothing, comes to ruin. Verse 4. The being of the lazy one craves, but has not. The being of the lazy one, the spirit of the lazy one craves all of these things, all of these foods, and all of these material things, but he has not because they're lazy. The being of the lazy one craves everything, but has not, while the being of the hard workers are enriched. The being of the hard workers are enriched because they work hard for it. They work hard for it. Verse 5, a righteous one hates a lying word. A righteous one hates a lying word. So a righteous one is one who follows the commands. So they hate lying words. These are who hate lying words. Those who follow the commands hate lying words. But a wrong man is loathsome and comes to shame. A righteous one hate lying words, but a wrong man is loathsome and comes to shame. Verse 6. Righteousness watches over him who is perfect in the way. So following the commands watches over one who is perfect in the way. Strive to perfect. Strive to keep the commandments top of mind. Strive to keep the instructions of God top of mind in order to be on a perfect way. But wrongness overthrows the sinner. Wrongness throw Wrongness overthrows the sinner. Doing what is wrong will overthrow you eventually. Doing people wrong will overthrow you eventually. Saying what is wrong will overthrow you eventually. Verse 7, there is one who makes himself rich, yet has none at all, and one who makes himself poor, yet has great riches. One who makes himself rich, yet has none at all, and one who makes himself poor. One who makes himself poor, yet has great riches. I wonder how. I wonder why. The only begotten Son spoke about this. Laying up riches in the heavens, laying up treasures in the heavens. Verse 8, the ransom of a man's life is his riches, but the poor does not hear rebuke. Verse 9, the light of the righteous rejoices. The light of the righteous rejoices, but the lamp of the wrong is put out. Verse 10, by pride comes only strife. By pride comes only strife. By pride comes only strife. But wisdom is with those who take advice. Wisdom is with those who take advice. Verse 11, wealth from vanity diminishes. Wealth from vanity diminishes. Wealth from vanity diminishes. But he who gathers by hand increases. But he who gathers by hand increases. Actually, work with their hands increases. Makes you wonder. Verse 12, expectancy drawn out makes the heart sick. Expectancy drawn out makes the heart sick. So when you're expecting something and it's being drawn out, it's being dragged out, it's taking forever. You may be expecting a package in the mail. You may be expecting a check. You may be expecting money. You may be expecting, you know, something or someone, a child. Expectancy drawn out makes the heart sick. Like we all get, impatient and wondering when. Like, you know, this is very true. Expectancy drawn out makes the heart sick, but a longing come true is a tree of life. So when you long for something for so long and it comes true and it comes to life and it comes to tuition, that's like a tree of life. You rejuvenate it, you know? It's like a revival. Verse 13. He who despises the word is destroyed. He who despises the word is destroyed. So he who despises the instructions of God is destroyed. He who despises his commandments is destroyed. He who despises his knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is destroyed. But he who fears the command is rewarded. But he who fears, meaning he, when he says fear, that means, you basically you love it. You know what I mean? You love it. So, he who fears and basically take heed to the command and follow the commands, obey the commands, is rewarded. Clearly say you're rewarded. So you want to be destroyed or you want to be rewarded? You're destroyed if you hate the commands. You're rewarded if you obey the commands. Verse 14, the Torah of the wise is a foundation of life. The Torah of the wise is a foundation of life. The instruction of the wise, meaning the instructions of God, is a foundation of life, turning one away from the snares of death, turning one away from the traps of death. Verse 15, good understanding gains favor. Good understanding gains favor. So when you have a good understanding of people, you have a good understanding on matters, you have a good understanding of the world, that gains favor. But the way of the treacherous is hard. The way of the treacherous is hard. Verse 16, everyone with insight acts with knowledge. Everyone with insight acts with knowledge. When you have the spiritual insight, you can't help but to act on that knowledge. When you have the spiritual insight, you can't help but to act on that knowledge. But a fool speaks folly. But a fool speaks foolishness. A fool speaks folly and foolish. Verse 17, a messenger that is wrong falls into evil. A messenger that is wrong falls into evil. So when you delivering false messages, when you're a false witness and you're a false messenger and you're a false everything, false teacher, you're going to find yourself falling into evil. But a trustworthy envoy is a healing. A trustworthy messenger is a healing. Verse 18, poverty and shame are for him who ignores discipline. Poverty and shame are for him who ignores discipline. So when you ignore discipline, expect poverty and shame. When you ignore discipline, you have to expect poverty and shame. Eventually, that's what comes with, not being disciplined. Poverty and shame are for him who ignores discipline. But he who heeds reproof is esteemed. He who heeds correction is esteemed. Verse 19, a desire accomplished is sweet to the being. A desire accomplished is sweet to the being. When you finally get something done, when you finally make something happen, when you finally achieve something, when you finally finish something, when you finally, it's sweet to the being. But to turn away from evil is an abomination to fools. To turn away from evil is an abomination to fools. The thought of turning away from their foolishness, the thought of turning away from their evil, the thought of turning away from their uncleanliness, the thought of turning away from their wickedness, the thought of turning away from their corruption is an abomination to a fool. The thought of it, the thought of them even changing and changing their life is an abomination. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear you tell them about doing it. They don't want to hear none of that. That's when you know you're dealing with a fool when and they not even trying to hear it. It's an abomination to them. Verse 20, he who walks with the wise shall be wise. He who walks with the wise shall be wise. Of course, eventually. Wouldn't be walking with the wise if you weren't wise. Because if you were a fool, it's an abomination to hear from the wise. If you're a fool, it's an abomination to even, hear what the wise is saying. You're going to stay away from the wise. So the wise, walking with the wise, it says, he who walks with the wise shall be wise. He who walks with the wise shall be wise. But the companion of fools suffer evil. But the companion of fools suffer evil. So when you're a companion of a fool, you're going to suffer evil because that's all that's around a fool. That's all they into. Verse 21, evil pursues sinners. Evil pursues sinners. Evil pursues sinners. When you made it your duty to sin, when you're not even filtering your thoughts, you're not filtering your actions, you're not filtering your words. You're you're a you're what would be called um you know a dedicated sinner. Like you're a conscious sinner. Like you consciously carry out sin. Like you consciously, you have no filter for it. You have no you have no shame, you have no remorse, you have no regret. That's who a sinner, that's what this everyone who has sinned, it can be called sinners, but you have people who intentionally sin, who intentionally sin, who intentionally sin. Like this is what they do. This is what they look forward to doing. They look forward to being treacherous. They look forward to being wicked. They look forward to being evil. They look forward to doing people wrong, treating people wrong, and doing what is wrong, doing what is corrupt, doing what is crooked. They look forward to that. They have no remorse. They have no regret, no shame in it. This is the sinner, and this is what it says. Evil pursues this person. Evil pursues this person. You don't have to look for evil when evil is looking for you. Because it know that's what you like. It's know that you want to do is it knows is that's what you want to do. The ancient knowledge of evil is an entity, man. And it's ancient. It's been here before everybody. It's been here before everybody and was brought in through that first, what's documented being that first bite of the fruit. It was brought in, and it's been here since then. Ancient knowledge of evil been here since then. So this is what pursues those who pursue it, the sinners. But good is repaid to the righteous. Good is repaid to the righteous. So when you consciously make righteous decisions, when you consciously do righteousness, when you consciously obey commands of God, the instructions of God, when you consciously do that, you're repaid for that. Verse 22, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. That's how you identify a good man. Now you have some corrupt men who end up leaving inheritance to their children. But there are and there have been good men who left and who will leave an inheritance to their children's children. But the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. The wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. So the wealth of the wicked, the wealth of the evil, the wealth of the treacherous, the wealth of the corrupt, the wealth of the crooked, the wealth of the fool is stored up for the righteous. Verse 23, much food is in the tillable ground of the poor. Much food is in the tillable ground of the poor. Much food is in the tillable ground of the poor, but lack of right ruling sweeps it away. Lack of right ruling, meaning lack of fairness, sweeps it away. So it's food all in the ground of the earth. It's food all in the grounds of the earth. But lack of fairness sweeps it away. Verse 24. He who spares his rod hates his son. So when you spare your rod, that's a demonstration of you hating your child, because you have to discipline your child. That should be your last step, of course, because I've first you love your child. First you teach your child. I'm sorry. First you love your child, then you direct your child and instruct your child, and then correct them if they don't follow the instructions, and then discipline them if they don't follow those instructions again. So that's the last step, is the discipline. But you have to discipline, or else they're going to continue not following instructions. You correct them and remind them, yo, these were the instructions. That's the correction before the discipline. The correction before the discipline is reminding them, yo, these were the instructions. That's the correction. If they continue to not follow those instructions and you let them without discipline, that's you showing that you hate them. That's you showing that you hate them. He who spares his rod hates his son, but he who loves him seeks him with discipline. He who loves their child seeks them with discipline. So when they, after correcting them and they still not following instructions, and you seek them with discipline, whether you have to discipline them by taking something that they like the most, their phone, their device, their counsel, the game counsel. I believe that's how you say that. Whatever you have to take from them, or whatever you have to, discipline them with, that's what you have to do. Verse 25, the righteous eats to the satisfying of his being. The righteous eats to the satisfying of his being. The righteous, the one who followed the commands, eats to the satisfying of his being. But the stomach of the wrong is lacking. The stomach of the wrong is lacking. When you do people wrong, your stomach is lacking. When you do what is wrong, your stomach is lacking. When you do people wrong and say what is wrong, your stomach is lacking. When you say what is wrong, do people wrong, and do what is wrong, your stomach is lacking. That's why if you're hungry and you don't have anything to eat, it's likely because you do people wrong, you say what is wrong, and you do what is wrong. Ain't telling no lie, man. That was the book of Proverbs chapter 13. We're going to get into the book of Ecclesiastes. Book of Ecclesiastes chapter 6. The book of Ecclesiastes chapter 6 verse 1. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, and it is great among men. It is great among men. What is this evil? Verse 2. A man to whom Elohim has given riches and wealth and esteem, so that his being lacks none at all of what he desires. But Elohim does not permit him to eat of it, and a foreigner consumes it. A foreigner consumes it. This is futile, and it is an evil disease. Verse 3. If a man brings forth 100 children and lives many years, so that the days of his years are many, but his being is not satisfied with goodness, or indeed he has no burial place, I say that a premature birth is better than he. I agree. Verse 4. For it comes in futility and goes away in darkness, and in darkness its name is covered. Verse 5. Even the sun it has not seen. It has more rest than that man. This premature birth, this premature birth has more rest than that man. Verse 6. And though he lives 1,000 years twice over, yet yet he shall not be, yet he shall not see goodness. Do not all go to one place? Do not all go to one place? Verse 7. All the labor of man is for his mouth, and yet the appetite is not satisfied. All the labor of man is for his mouth, and yet the appetite is not satisfied. Verse 8. For what advantage has the wise over the fool? What advantage does the poor have who knows how to walk before the living? Verse 9. What the eye see is better than what the desire goes after. What the eye see is better than what the desire goes after. That too is futile. And feeding on wind. Verse 10. Whatever shall be has already been named, and it is known that he is son of Adam, and he is unable to contend with him who is mightier than he. Verse 11. The more words, the more futility. The more words, the more futility. What is to man the advantage? What is to man the advantage? Verse 12. For who knows what is good for man in life, all the days of his futile life, which he passes like a shadow? For who declares to man what shall be after him? under the sun? Who declares to man what should be after him under the sun? Who? Who? And that completes the chapter of Ecclesiastes, chapter 6. I'm going to close this live out. I'm going to pick it back up in the book of, I believe, still in the book of Jeremiah. Let me check. Book of Genesis. Book of Exodus. So I'm going to pick it back up in the book of Leviticus. The book of Leviticus, chapter 3 to chapter 6. The book of Leviticus, chapter 3 to chapter 6. That's where I'm going to close this live out and pick it back up and come back on, pick it back up. If you're able to join, y'all bless. If not, I'm gonna bless us out according to the blessing that was given to the people by Moshe. You know, the Most High gave to Moshe to bless the people. Receive your blessing. May Yahuwah bless you, Barak you, and guard you. May Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. May Yahuwah lift up his face upon you and give you peace. Until next time, peace, love, Shabbat Shalom, love, and peace.